We are getting the ground ready, learning all the ability, learning the tricks of the trade.
So you guys are ahead of your time, do you think that? Is it really sustainable to work on sustainability?
And when I did my 4 years of study, I was good at my studies. I mean, I think I was at my best when I was at an engineering college.
I feel like one thing that stayed same throughout these years is that कि बेटा तू एक बार engineering कर ले फिर सोच लेना क्या करना है. Alright, sir. So you talked about your business, you talked about flow cards, you talked about 366 Pi technologies, but we didn't talk about like in depth, like what are these companies doing, what is the motive behind, why to, what different, how. So basically you have taken this responsibility of merging sustainability with technology. How are you going about it?
Great question. So 366 Pi is a business consulting firm in 2012. और जब हम लोग बिजनेस कंसल्टिंग करना शुरू किए स्टार्टअप्स एंड लार्ज कंपनीज के लिए, सो व्हाट आर दीज कंसल्टिंग एंगेजमेंट? सो कंसल्टिंग एंगेजमेंट इज अ कंपनी वुड हायर यू एंड से, अमितेश, माय बिजनेस इजंट डूइंग ग्रेट, कैन यू हेल्प अस डू समथिंग और डू योर मैजिक एंड allow us to do some good work? So we did our bit there, but eventually lot of these initiatives were ending up in some form of technology development, say app बनाना है या portal बनाना है. So given my expertise with the industry, I used to find vendors who could do app or who could do these portal, but I was not very happy with the output that I was getting in. तो फिर वो वाला mindset आ गया, बना लेंगे यार अपना, तो बस पहले कंपनी बना ली टेक्नोलॉजी, तो फिर वो टेक बनाना शुरू कर दिया. So therefore the tech bit started on the 366 Pi side. When we were working at 366 Pi Technologies, one interesting change happened, that was starting our office in Dubai in 2017.
Correct.
और जब हम लोग दुबई गए 2017, तो बहुत ही यूनिक था, not just because of an awesome infrastructure, but it was also because of the leadership of the government there. And what I spotted that these countries are actually looking ahead in the future. And specifically, I can tell you in 2017, the first blockchain summit was supposed to be done there, and I was just prior to that. तो मैंने देखा कि एक तो ब्लॉकचेन जैसी नई टेक्नोलॉजी पे दे आर सो बिग, दे आर क्रिएटिंग सच अ ह्यूज प्लेटफॉर्म वेयर पीपल वुड वांट टू टॉक अबाउट इट, एंड एट द सेम टाइम दे हैड दिस रोड मैप फॉर 2030 specifically around technology, that how government can actually use technology until 2030. तब हमारे दिमाग में क्लिक किया कि यार हम लोग इस टेक्नोलॉजी में क्यों नहीं काम कर रहे हैं? एक छोटा सा देश जो इतना आगे की सोच सकता है, जिसके पास रिसोर्सेज हैं, बट दे आर ट्राइंग टू फिगर आउट how to get things done, why can't we do it? Right. So then we designed something called as identified 30 technologies which we think will change people kind in a good and a better way, and then we started working on it, and therefore we started building IPs. ये फ्लो कार्ड, ये जो हमारे पार्टनर्स हैं यूके में फेनेक्स, उनके लिए जो हम लोग ऑयल एंड गैस कंपनीज के लिए टूल्स बनाते हैं, तो ये सारे इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी इसलिए बनने शुरू हुए क्योंकि वी हैड दैट हाइंडसाइट कि हाँ हम लोग इन टेक्नोलॉजीज पे काम करें. सो द जर्नी इज कि इट साउंड्स टू मच, लगता है कि बहुत सारी चीजें हो रही हैं, बट ये एक्चुअली सब इंटर रिलेटेड है. सो एट द कोर एवरीथिंग इज 366 पाई, बट जो प्रोडक्ट्स बन के बाहर निकल रहे हैं उनका एक अपना ब्रांडिंग है. सो फ्लो कार्ड इज दैट सोल्यूशन अराउंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी. सो अब हम लोग जब 2030 में देखते हैं, तो वहां पर आप मेरे से आके वेबसाइट नहीं बनवाओगे क्योंकि वो चैट जीपीटी खुद ही बना देगा. तो बट लेकिन पेड़ लगाना, पेड़ बचाना, पर्यावरण में लोगों को इन्वॉल्व करना, climate change is for real. I mean, AI is adding to it in a way which we also have to offset. तो ये सारी चीज़ों पे हम लोगों ने आगे देखना शुरू किया. So what we are doing right now is building a business for the future. We would like to be a startup in 2030. That's where we are getting the ground ready, learning all the ability, learning the tricks of the trade, how it has to be done, and then we'll start accelerating.
So you guys are ahead of your time, do you think that?
Everybody is ahead of a time. तभी तो हम लोग यहाँ पे कॉन्वर्सेशन कर रहे हैं. Yeah.
Love the way you guys are incorporating sustainability for the future of world. What I personally feel like whenever I listen to a company stating that, you know, we are sustainable, we are doing this major, I sometimes feel like this as a marketing gimmick that they are used to, you know, please the audience. What do you have to say?
No, it's not true. I mean, of course there are stories, and there is a term for it. It's called greenwashing. Okay, so the greenwashing is where a company claims that they are climate friendly or environmental friendly, but their actions are not.
Right.
Okay, so basically they claim कि हाँ हम लोगों ने इतना पेड़ लगा दिया या हमारे प्रोडक्ट में कोई प्लास्टिक यूज नहीं है, but in reality they do it. So that gap is called as a greenwashing. So there are companies who would be doing it. I mean, enough of that evidence available on internet, including that drink which we often use, which is black in color, available in red wrapper. They also have done greenwashing number of times. So, but then there are companies and organizations, and we are working with number of such organizations, and I can tell you, I mean, I really feel really excited to see that there are genuine folks who really want things to be better, and we are so happy and pleased that we can contribute with and work with them. आपको कहीं दूर जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, झारखंड के अंदर ही ऐसे कई कंपनीज हैं, नॉट जस्ट मतलब प्लांटिंग ट्रीज या रिवर वाटर कंजर्वेशन या वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, बट they are also very progressive in terms of creating livelihood for the tribal folks, trying to see how different new markets can be created for sustainable products which can be based on bamboo. Then there are homemade items that can actually be delivered into a market. So there are a lot of number of areas that are there.
Right. I'm totally intrigued about your insights with sustainability. But what I personally have a query is it really sustainable to work on sustainability? Like, are businesses like yours able to
So why do you
generate
think
revenue?
it is not sustainable? Just because you won't have money?
Yeah, because it seems more like a noble cause. You are working towards a noble
No,
cause.
it is not a noble cause. I mean, the point is for you to think that working on a sustainability is not sustainable, which means that you're trying to look that definition primarily from the money standpoint.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? Okay. So what do you think is a sustainable money? In your life, let's forget that let's for a moment assume there is no climate change. Okay, all that is a hoax, and the world is a safer, greener place,
Right.
and we don't really have to solve that problem. So given that scenario, if you need a sustainable money in life, what would be that number?
For me, if you talk from a perspective who don't have much experience in any technical
That's all right.
field,
That's all right.
yeah, I would say spot the trends which are going around. Try to think that how can you make a product around it. Let's say if the trend is about find a problem statement around yourself, around your peers, maybe your family, and then make a product around it. That's a sustainable thing to make. Maybe you can talk about creating content. That's what I feel like people are consuming that a lot. That's from my side, yeah.
Okay, but you did not refer to money. You talked about product, you talked about innovation, you talked about passion, you talked about what you think people would want, but you did not speak about money when you were trying to define sustainable way of living. And why is that?
That's what I'm saying. Like that, those are the field where you can
So
make money quickly.
Correct. So the point is, when it comes to money, right? The greed triggers. So and there is also a sense of validation which comes in. So for example, you and I, if we were in the same class, pretty similar grades and average, pretty similar personality, same campus placement, but let's say two different companies, we'll still end up comparing ourselves. किसको कितना मिला, right? And अब क्या होता है कि nobody likes to be undervalued. I mean, everybody wants to be valued. That's just the very human thing, right? So अब क्या होता है कि ये जो sustainable money का जो understanding है, वो exactly उसी scenario से आता है कि मतलब यार मेरे लिए क्या sustainable होगा. हम लोग जब कॉलेज में थे तो मुझे लगता था कि 1 करोड़ रुपया हो जाएगा, that's enough. Now when we are trying to build business, I can tell you it's like 1 crore is absolutely nothing. But फिर लगता है कि if I have to plan a retirement, I mean I need let's say 5 crores and then I can retire, right? But I'm pretty sure when the time arrives, I'll realize that no, 5 crore wasn't enough. So the point is, there's never an end to the idea of money in sustainable. And this is a conversation an actual conversation happened a few days ago at office when I asked one of Gen Zs that what do you think is an idea of giving? What do you think is an idea of giving?
Idea of giving back to society?
No, just the idea of giving.
Just
so if you just in some Insta reel you see that idea of giving, right? I mean, you should be kind, you should be nice, and you should be giving as much as possible. So the idea of giving. So what do you think is an idea of giving?
Whatever I am learning, my
Okay.
peers should be learning that as well. If I think whatever I feel like this is a skill, maybe this is the learning of the day, I should share it with the people so that they can grow with me as well.
Excellent. And do you think money can be giving as well?
Money can be giving as well. If I'm getting the work done, I'm getting my work
Or
done.
you have enough of it?
Yeah,
right.
to do the charity. Yeah.
Yes, right. So most of the time, that's exactly how these conversations start or end. That the idea of giving primarily starts from the idea of money,
Right.
an idea of you having enough so that you can part some of it
Right.
whenever needed. And in fact, philanthropy. I mean, if you look at philanthropical conversations happening right now, most of those conversations are about Bill Gates wrote a check of so much value, his foundation did this, that is the money that has been transferred. But think of a scenario that I met with an accident on the road and you were crossing by. Will you throw 10 lakh rupees on me and run away from there? Will that help?
No.
No, right? What I really need there is your time and attention, right? What kind of attention I need? I want you to just make a phone call to an ambulance. If you have a little bit of more patience and if you really want to be helpful, maybe walk into an hospital along with me and admit me into an hospital and impact my life in a way. So there the idea of giving was non-tangible. I mean, it was not money. So 99.99% of time, the giving is primarily around this. If you have understood this as a concept that, okay, what you already have is all you need. You just need to keep accelerating yourself in that direction one step at a time, you're automatically sustainable. So the money will come to you provided you have created enough value for that moment. So if you have a nice looking phone and if somebody wants to buy it, I'm sure if you need money urgently and if it's let's say a 20,000 rupee phone, say that I'm selling it for 5,000, I'm sure people will just buy it, right? So the money came to you because you had a value. So the sustainability is absolutely always about the understanding of the value. And please note, creating value is hard, sustaining value is harder, and making sure that you propagate value is next to impossible. Okay, so the whole conversation, or maybe the over conversation that you keep hearing that the values have diluted, the value system needs to get better, is primarily about creating a value, communicating a value, and propagating the values that you think that you have created. Simple example है, रिन्यूएबल में हम लोग अभी काम करते हैं, सो एक लाइट्स ऑफ हो जाने चाहिए, मतलब आप जब ऑफिस से घर जा रहे हो एंड देन देयर आर नंबर ऑफ एप्स एंड रिमाइंडर्स, प्लीज स्विच ऑफ योर लाइट्स. बट थिंक ऑफ दिस, इफ देयर इज अ स्विच which says that when it is switched on, it gives you, let's say you have consumed 10 units of electricity today. Just a छोटा सा number आ रहा है लिख के. It's such an easy thing, right? I mean, at a switch level itself, you know कि एक बार आप जब switch off करोगे तो आपने कितना पैसा बचा है. At the same time, let's say if that switch also has a green, I mean it has got two LED, red LED and a green LED. Green LED tells you that how much of power you have consumed today. And the green LED tells you that how many trees you have saved by the action of switching it off, right? And it's just a simple product, right? आप जब ऑन कर रहे हो तो आप पैसा आपका जा रहा है, कितना पैसा खर्च हो रहा है, जब आप ऑफ कर रहे हो तो कितना पेड़ बचा रहे हो, वो डेटा अगर आपको वहाँ दिखने लगे, छोटा सा IoT डिवाइस बन जाए, इट्स अ वेरी हाई वैल्यू वर्क, राइट? एंड देन यू आर एबल टू कम्युनिकेट इट. तो पंगा यहीं पर है कि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम वी थिंक दैट मनी इज द पॉइंट ऑफ वैलिडेशन. टू गो बैक टू योर क्वेश्चन कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी को सस्टेनेबल कैसे बना सकते हैं, बाय मेकिंग श्योर दैट यू क्रिएट एंड सीड इनफ वैल्यूज एंड यू डू इट विद द आइडिया ऑफ गिविंग, नॉट विद द इंटेंट ऑफ सीकिंग. सो करते जाओ, कभी ना कभी कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा. बट राइट, एनी बिजनेस is about profit. Even if you're working in sustainability, yes, profit is everything. People confuse sustainability with CSR initiative, which is why I think you use the word noble. I don't think, I mean, of course, nobility is in everything. In your profession, you're doing anything, you're creating this content, that's a noble work. You are doing it for all the right intentions and reasons, right? So, I don't think it has anything to do on that side of things. So, take one step at a time.
Right. And while taking those one steps at a time, you guys, I'm sure you guys have a planning till, let's say, 2030.
No, we don't have any plans.
You guys don't. But let's say, if, we're living in a world where the world is changing so rapidly, are you guys, have something in mind, that's the time where we shift the gears. That's the time we
Yeah,
have
no,
to
I mean,
level up.
good. So the name of my business is 366 Pi.
Right.
Okay. So the name came in because we started this business in 2012. Okay. So Pi stands for irrationality. I mean, it's a irrational number.
Right.
366 is the rational digit, the digit 3, digit 6, and digit 6. So when you multiply a rational with irrational, you try to tend to balance it. So we are either irrationally irrational people or we are irrationally rational folks. So we don't know that yet.
Right.
But the whole idea got germinated in 2012 because we were told that world is about to end on some 1 December,
Right.
20, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, and for all weird reasons, since we started in January of that year, we thought, oh my God,
Shit.
this is bad, right? I mean, we had such a nice cause, nice purpose, but what if world ends? So then we thought, okay, what if world survives?
What if?
What if?
What if?
Yeah, what if the world survives and चीजें जो भी गदर मचनी है वो नहीं हो रहा है तो फिर क्या करेंगे? कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. So which is why the whole name came into an existence. So I mean, going back to the question that one step at a time, there was absolutely no step. The only step was, what if the world survives? What if I see tomorrow? I need to do something today so that I have tomorrow. So that's exactly what we are doing. We are seeding one small step in every moment, every today. We don't know how future looks like. I'm pretty sure nobody has, I mean, everyone has an speculation. And every speculation is either driven by data or driven by the understanding or maybe nothing. Right, so if it is speculative, it is speculative, right? But what you have right now is in this moment to do and understand what you can do best. Everything else transpires around it, right? So we don't have a roadmap, as in that, okay, on 23rd of September 2027, be in Dubai talking to this person, closing this deal. Nobody can have that kind of planning at all. I'm sure if there are folks, I would curious myself, but I have not met anybody so far. So which means that you have to just be in the moment, follow the direction, stick to the direction, avoid distractions. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, you should have an ability to understand what is a distraction and what is a focus. Right? The only difference between a focus and a distraction is the illusion, right? I mean,
okay.
That's
a t-shirt line.
Yeah, that's a t-shirt line. All right, you can keep the copyright. Yeah. So, and then which is where most of the time we think we are staying focused, but unfortunately you would be distracted. So, which is where you need to have a clarity of thought in that. And that's another thing, right? I mean, as an entrepreneur, what I have seen people talking about vision, specifically when I meet people of grandfather generation now, they come back with their favorite line, "Sarkar to kuch nahi kar raha." So then, of course, I don't look puzzled because if Sarkar kuch nahi kar raha, which is why, I mean, we are both there, right? I mean, नहीं तो हम लोग बड़े-बड़े शहरों में बैठे होते भी ये रांची बहुत अच्छी जगह होती. And then my next question to them is why? What do you think government is lacking? And everyone has said that they don't have a vision. And I was like, what? तो vision क्यों नहीं है? I mean, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि सरकार कुछ नहीं कर रही है, करना नहीं चाह रही है. So what is this actual vision that people are talking about? And where is this vision dialogue coming from? So I'm sure your vision, I mean, to this room is different. My vision to this room is different, right? So पंगा क्या होता है ना यार कि most of the time हम लोग ये vision और illusion के बीच में confused रहते हैं. So we are always in illusion. It's just by virtue of luck and your hard work, you could discover what vision could look like. Okay. And vision is a function of clarity as you progress in your life. So for example, if you look outward, I mean, you consider yourself in a plain open field on a farm, और तुमको जितनी दूर तक दिख रहा है तुमको अर्थ उतनी दूर तक दिखेगा. उसके आगे तो अर्थ नहीं है. I mean, you have to actually travel that far to look further ahead. But let's say if you have an instrument or maybe this new Starlink feature set which gives you a Google Map view. अब तो हमारे पास आ गया, ऐप ही आ गया, गूगल मैप आ गया, हम लोग स्क्रॉल करके कहीं भी देख सकते हैं. तो दैट फीड इज कमिंग फ्रॉम द सैटेलाइट और मे बी फ्रॉम द सर्वर्स, राइट? बट वी हैव द कंप्लीट पिक्चर ऑफ इट. So when you have right devices with you, you can have a larger vision. But the point is, you need to have a vision first to have a satellite which can give you a vision further. If you don't have it and if you don't have an understanding of it, you are in an illusion. सो थैंकफुली क्या होता है हमारे करियर में, हमारे लाइफ में गोल्स की क्लैरिटी नहीं होती है.
Right.
तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि विजन नहीं है, इसका मतलब ये है कि हम लोग प्योर इल्यूजन में, राइट, एंड उसका कोई रास्ता नहीं है. मतलब देर इज नो वन टॉनिक और मे बी मिस्टर वॉकर हु कैन एक्चुअली हेल्प यू. यहाँ take a 2 peg of Mr. Walker and you'll have a vision and you'll have a direction. You can't, right?
Yeah.
So you have to take small steps. You have to believe in yourself, have faith in your actions, and be weird. I mean, don't identify yourself from your peers or from the folks around you, and just keep doing your bit. You'll discover your vision. अब वो विजन से कुछ होता है कि नहीं होता है, दैट्स एन आउटकम. डोंट वरी अबाउट इट.
Before shooting this podcast, sir told us that you are two civil engineers who are, instead of building buildings, you're making content. But coming to that clarity, when that person get it, I feel like even though there is a generation gap among us, I feel like one thing that stayed same throughout these years is that कि बेटा तू एक बार इंजीनियरिंग कर ले फिर सोच लेना क्या करना है. That is the norm that I come from the society. I feel like you also felt the same.
I get that. I mean, see, and I don't think it has changed ever. I mean, हो सकता है अब जैसे for example in my father's generation, उनके टाइम पे having a professional degree, मतलब let's say doing a diploma was everything. In my grandfather's generation, completing school would have been everything. I'm sure in a great grandfather generation, I'm sure most of the guys would be homeschooled. मतलब बच्चे हैं, पढ़ा रहे हैं, कोई पंडित जी आ रहे हैं, कुछ सिखा दिया जो उनको व्यवहारिकता के लिए चीज़ें चाहिए. Now if you look back in a current day and age, we are again talking about something similar. Now the reason I'm giving you this context is the society that you qualify, or the society that you're calling it. I mean, who are these folks? I mean, these folks are people जिनके अपना लाइफ झंड हुआ है. I mean, they don't have a clarity among themselves, मतलब उनको क्या करना है, and they have an opinion which they're free to share or choose to share it with you, and you make their opinion as your life mantra, right? Now the point is it has been consistent ever. So great grandfather के generation में भी जब वो 4-5 बच्चे होम स्कूल्ड हो रहे होंगे तब भी वही सोसाइटी होगी, वही ओपिनियन होगा. जब ग्रैंडफादर और फादर का जनरेशन होगा तब भी वही होगा, अलग अलग फॉर्मेट्स में होगा. अभी के केस में क्या है कि कम्युनिकेशन स्पीड हो चुका है तो हमारे पास अभी भी वो आ रहा है. तो ऑफ कोर्स आई एम ऑल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ द सेम बायस, बट द पॉइंट इज यू डोंट हैव टू सब्सक्राइब टू दोज बायसेस. आई मीन व्हेन आई वाज एन इंजीनियर आई न्यू आई हैव टू बी एन इंजीनियर बिकॉज आई हैड एन इंस्पिरेशन फ्रॉम अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग इंसिडेंट. So my dad and I was in standard 8 and we were going somewhere on his car, and he started talking about this new company which got created called Infosys, and he was talking so I asked him what is it about. So वो programming है, so बहुत tough होता होगा, मतलब coding करना पड़ता है. तो I said coding क्या होता है? तो computers में you do something and then it automates something and it makes your jobs easy. And then I said, the work that you do, does it help you in achieving it? He says yes. The next thing he tells me that there is a colleague of his, उसकी बेटी Infosys में काम करती है, and she has done a course from an IIT and she is there. And there were a lot of change in that one conversation that's still fresh in my mind along with the visualization is because एक हमारे ज़माने में महिलाएं बाहर जाके काम करेंगी was rare.
Yeah.
So for us to, for him to share that was an interesting bit of information. Second, it was computers and technology, which was very challenging job. And third, a woman can also do coding. A woman in tech is also a possibility, which means that it is a new norm in an upcoming society that comes in. None of this was a bias or told to me by him, right? I mean, he put it in a general matter of fact sense. Thankfully, I had no biases around to actually look into those nuances. तो ठीक है यार, उनकी बेटी है, वो इन्फोसिस में काम करती है, टफ काम है, I should also do it. Right? I mean, it is as simple as that. But अब जब हम लोग उस कॉन्वर्जेशन को करंट सोसाइटी सिनेरियो में देखते हैं तो लगता है कि यार कितने नॉर्म्स को वो तोड़ रहा है, राइट? आई मीन सो कूल, राइट? बट इट वॉज ऑलवेज बीन कूल. So you picking up, let's say, civil engineering is a cool job as well. I mean, for me, I wanted to be in IT because I wanted to be. So when I went back to college, And when I did my 4 years of study, I was good at my studies. I mean, I think I was at my best when I was at an engineering college. So सबका ग्राफ शायद ऐसे जाता होगा, मेरा ग्राफ ऐसे in padhai. I mean, I was absolutely below average student in school. In fact, I flunked in Hindi in class 4, and my mother was an MA in Hindi, and it was such an embarrassment for her. In standard 10th and 12th, I had a consistent 70.1%. And when I went back to college, my percentage went up, and not just the percentage, my knowledge, my skills, my understanding, because I was passionate about it.
Got it. I think, sir, we talked about your business, we talked about your life, we talked about how your tips can shape the future of the young professionals who are watching this. Before we wrap this up, I have a quick fireside questions
Go
which
ahead.
you have to answer very quickly.
I'll
and
do it. Go
then
ahead,
we
ask.
can
Yeah, I'll give it a best.
All right. So how about we start? All right. So if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
Hitler.
Why?
Yeah, of course. I want to know how did he mobilize such a war, man. It's a
Yeah.
important lesson to be learned. If we can mobilize so many people, inspire them, of course. I mean, he did it for the wrong reason, and maybe do it for some other reason.
Right. What's your favorite book you have ever read or come across on leadership?
Oh, there was this book called Goal, which is one of my favorite book, written by Eliyahu Goldratt. Very simple book. It introduces a concept of theory of constraints. It's a good book because it offers a very interesting perspective of application of management in a life scenario. It's a work of a fact, fiction, and management principle, and I think it's one of my favorite book.
Got it. What's your dream with 366 Pi Technologies in one sentence?
I want to be rich. I want to make sure people around me are rich as well.
Great. And what's the best advice you have ever received? And from who?
Oh, so received from a mentor. He was working for another large organization, and the advice that I received was that you don't have to time bound yourself. So as a youth in my 20s, there was this fire that I'll work 18 hours every day and I'll achieve everything in my life. And he always said that okay, हर काम अपने समय पे ही होता है. आप कितना भी push कर लो, वो नहीं होने वाला. So if something is taking time, give time. And over the years, that translated into one of my most favorite wisdoms ever. I mean, have patience and have enough patience so that patience gives up on you. You don't give up on patience.
Right.
If you can build that ability within yourself, you will absolutely be fulfilled in life.
Right. And so, like the last and the most important question for the audience watching, what do you have to say for the people who are just starting their career, their professional life, just getting out of the college? What do you have to say to them? Just maybe, just put a timer, maybe just, because there's so much to cover and so much to look after in so many fields. How do they proceed with one goal at a time?
So be honest with yourself, understand who you are. I mean, I'm sure every student know who they are in the class. I mean, अगर मेरा maths अच्छा नहीं है तो नहीं है. If I'm an average student, I'm an average student. I mean, acceptance of that is super crucial. That's honesty is the first part. Second, I think integrity is in a super short supply. So you need to have an integrity for your own self, which means that if you could do something, do it with integrity, right? And last and foremost, if you love something, I mean, even if it is just traveling, creating content, or moving around, or building a product, working for tech, follow that passion. The money shall follow. I mean, don't make money as your way of looking at life. Unfortunately, when you get out of a campus, you think that you're going to get a life upgrade because you have an access to money. It's actually the other way around. It's actually the life downgrade. So let's say you at zero income, suddenly you get a package of 30 lakhs. You start receiving, let's say, a lakh or a lakh and a half in your bank account every month. You start spending that money in parties and everything else to influence your peer and to look cool, look smart and everything else. But you miss out on the actual life that exists. So, and think of this another person who had a CTC of let's say 5 lakh, but a 6 month of vacation. He has to just work 6 months, and that let's say 5 lakh was enough for him to survive for the year. He is going to add more experiences into life.
Right.
Add those experiences, and if you have to do something in life, don't wait for money to come in your 30s and then do it. Go ahead in 20s. I mean, more mistakes that you make in 20s, better person you will be in your 30s, because mistakes to honge yaar. That's who we all are. So don't wait for turning, I mean, a gray hair or maybe no hair and then figuring out कि अब हम mistake करते हैं.
Right.
The mistakes will get only costlier. So make all your mistakes possible in your 20s, and mistakes will happen only if you are focused on creating experiences for your own self.
Right. Totally, sir. Great insights. The last best time was yesterday, and the next best time is today. So, great insights from you, sir. Thank you so much for your time. I really hope you guys also enjoyed the insights from sir. I'm totally sure that there's a lot to gain, and in the end, I just want to say that, stay hungry, keep chasing your dreams, and keep finding your niche. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, sir.